I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational, but that just wouldn't be our style.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
SportsTownChicago.com. Lombard, part of the P On Air network and available on the TuneIn app.
Hell yeah.
Broadcast home for your Windy City Bulls and the Chicago Dogs. We're in a league of our own. Now, here's your SportsTownChicago.com scoreboard update.
At 5 o'clock on Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, I am your host, Mike Napolitano, with your SportsTownChicago.com update, powered by the Illinois Media School. If you are interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. Chicago Bears fans' prayers have been answered. Offensive coordinator Shane Waldron has been relieved of his duties. The news broke this morning following an extremely poor showing on Sunday by this Bears offense. The Bears went 3 and out 4 times and had to punt on 10 of their 11 possessions. No touchdowns against a 2-7 Patriots team. And Caleb Williams was sacked twice after being left in on offense in an already 16-point deficit game. 6 of those 9 sacks on the day came after the Bears were already trailing by more than a score in the third and fourth quarter. Williams is on pace to be sacked 71 times, which would be the third most sacks taken in a season in NFL history. Noah Sewell, Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, and Kieran Abagaji are amongst the names on the offensive line that are injured after this past week. And many are wondering when Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren will make some roster decisions to help this offense, and also when the final nail in Matt Eberflus's coffin will be drilled in. Many fans are still calling for change even after the Waldron firing, which means that the hot seat has shifted to Matt Eberflus after regressing this supposed bolstered Bears lineup to only 4-5 with a grim outlook on the rest of this season. This has been your SportsTownChicago.com update brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If you are interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com.
Clear to center for Taves. He got a breakaway. Taves to win the game. Hawks win. Hawks win. Jonathan Taves.
It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors. Mark Burley has a perfect game going to the ninth. Oh, trying to get open, fires away. Fire! It's over. The Bulls win at the buzzer. Wayne Wise makes the catch. What a play by Wise. Mercy. He goes. 1 to go. Takes a key. 2-on-1. Hudson back to point up a shot. Open. Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat. Alexei! Yes! 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 History! To the net, they score! It's in! They score! The Hawks win the Stanley Cup! The Hawks win the Stanley Cup!
A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws.
Out! Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship! The White Sox have won the World Series, and they're mobbing each other on the field!
Binnington, Kurashev plays the rebound for Bedard down low.
Bedard! The cross-style scores! Unbelievable! Connor Bedard!
Dude, that was insane.
Insane, unbelievable, unacceptable, despicable. All words that I would use to describe this past week's display out on Soldier Field. The Bears lose in abysmal fashion to the Bears and Patriots. The amount of times I've had to put abysmal here in the notes about Chicago sports teams this year, too many times. Before we really dive in here, I just want to remind you can follow me on X or Instagram. That is MikeNapoletano, Mike_Napolitano on Instagram, and Mike Napolitano 5 on Snapchat. SportsTownChicago.com and the Illinois Media School are on X and Instagram if you need to get a hold of them. So please go give them a follow and keep up to date on all the shows that we offer here and all the programs as well. 19-3. 19-3. The Bears lost to the Patriots. The 2-7 Patriots. Now they're 3-7, but the 2-7 Patriots, the Bears were undefeated at home going into this one. Undefeated, 4-0. Coming off of 3 horrendous losses. Everybody thought that this was going to be the game in which the Bears bounce back and finally secure a win after so many poor showings. The Patriots were 1-4 at home. Sorry, I grouped that Patriots loss in the 3 losses in a row. It was only 2 losses before that, but that Commanders loss that we described felt like 2 because they were losing all game, finally got the lead, and then decided to lose anyways. That Cardinals game, I mean, you could basically just erase my memory on that one. And then a loss to the Patriots. That's it, Chicago. That's the season. 9 sacks. 9 of them. And all on Caleb Williams. He was left in. Do you understand that? Do you understand how bad that is? He was left in a meaningless game. And yes, this became a meaningless game when Chicago failed to score a touchdown in the first 3 quarters. You can even argue just the first half. Maybe Caleb Williams gets pulled. And not because of poor play on his part, because you want to protect your only assets on this team. There's not a lot of them at this point. Matt Eberflus left Caleb Williams in during the dying minutes of an unwinnable game just to get sacked hard again and again. Are you trying to kill the kid, Matt Eberflus? Matt Eberflus should be fired after that. We talked about Shane Waldron in that opening. That news broke today. The offensive coordinator now parting ways with the team. But that's not enough. This shows that more heads need to roll. Let me break this game down for you. Yeah, there was a game played. I don't know if anybody told the Bears. Caleb Williams told Tory Taylor that he wasn't going to be punting much here. The Chicago Bears punted 8 times, 8 punts and 2 turnovers on downs on 11 possessions. That's 10 of the 11 possessions in which the Bears failed to even make it into the red zone against a 2-7 team. The firing of offensive coordinator Shane Waldron today is a big start, but it's what it needs to be. A start. The offense needs to be better. GM Ryan Poles needs to be better. President Kevin Warren needs to be present. Where is he? And accountable. And Matt Eberflus needs to answer to this as well, or more likely be fired. I know he goes on his Monday morning talk shows with ESPN or 670 and whatever. He can't keep hiding behind the theoreticals and the, oh, well, if we would have done this and I thought that, and you just need to chalk it up to what it is, Matt. You need to chalk it up to the fact that you are not the coach for this team. You need to hold other guys accountable. And then you need to look into the mirror and hold yourself accountable. Shane Waldron is the 8th member in the past 14 months to be fired or resign from Matt Eberflus's coaching staff. The Bears have fired 2 offensive coordinators this calendar year. One was today. The other was already fired by his new team. That's Luke Getsy. The Raiders released him a while ago. The Bears are an abomination. This Bears organization is a failure. 2 offensive coordinators that no one else in the league, not even the Raiders, want. Where are you getting these guys from? I mean, that's unbelievable. Speaking of where are you getting these guys from, your whole offensive line that couldn't do anything to begin with is injured on top of that. As of today, Darnell Wright, status, questionable. Darrell Taylor's a defensive end, but he's questionable. Noah Sewell, questionable. Braxton Jones, questionable. Kieran Abagaje, questionable. You also have Shaquan Brisker, your safety, questionable, and Nate Davis, your guard, questionable. Everybody's injured on this team, but that's no excuse. These are injuries that happened after this game. These are injuries that happened after the loss to the Cardinals and after that horrible, horrible late comeback and still dropping the ball, quite literally, against the Washington Commanders. Tavarius Moore is still out with a concussion. He was ruled out against that game against New England, so he wasn't a part of this despicable showing from the Bears on home field. Tevin Jenkins was out as of November 10th as well with an ankle injury. And going back into last week, Andrew Billings and Bill Murray were both out, not the Ghostbusters Bill Murray, but both had a pectoral injury. Weird to see, but both gentlemen out. It's not going to get better, Chicago. As I said, playtime is over. And the reason I say that, the rest of the schedule for the Bears, forget about it. 3 divisional matchups back to back to back before you have to play the 49ers, who went to the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, I know they have the same record as the Bears right now. But, sorry, they're actually 5-4. It's the inverse. And then 3 more games against divisional rivals, with the exception of the matchup right after Christmas against the Seahawks. I don't see the Bears winning another game. My prediction at the start of this season was 9-8. They are sitting at 4 wins right now. They're not even halfway to that point. They're not even where they were last year. They finished the season 7-10. They are 3 wins away from tying their record from last year. A team that's supposed to be better, tying last year. Show me the 3 wins in this lineup. Show them to me. The next game is against the Green Bay Packers. This Sunday, November 17th at noon on Fox for the entire world to see the Bears get destroyed. The Packers lead the head-to-head series 107-95-6. Yeah, there used to be ties. It'll be November 17th. You know, the last time that the Bears even defeated the Green Bay Packers? This isn't a rivalry. A rivalry is when both teams have the opportunity to win games. The Bears don't set themselves up to win games. November 17th, December 16th of 2018. I broke this one down years ago on this show. I set the scene. I said, Mitchell Trubisky is your quarterback. Cody Parkey is your kicker. Jamal Williams was still on the Green Bay Packers along with Devontae Adams. Tariq Cohen was on the Bears. Mason Crosby was the Green Bay Packers kicker. December 16th, 2018. It's 2024. That is just shy of 6 years ago that this Bears team beat the Packers. The Bears were 10-4. The Packers were 5-8-1. Of course it was a year that the Packers weren't great because the Bears can't beat the Packers when they're even 500. But the Packers are not 500. They are 6-3. 3-1 on the road. The Bears will host them at Soldier Field. But then, the day before my birthday, Sunday, November 24th, at noon on Fox again, it'll be the Bears and the 7-2 Vikings. And then, just 4 days later, November 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. Okay, if you're not counting the actual 24th, 28th, on Thanksgiving, 2 games in 4 days, the Bears will play the Lions, the 8-1 Lions. There is not a single win for the Bears in that stretch. 2 games in 4 days against the top 2 teams in this division. And before that, you have to play your bitter rivals. Then you go on to play the Super Bowl runner-ups. And then it's right back to divisional games against the Vikings and the Lions. Skip a week for the Seahawks, which would be maybe your only hope as one more win on this disgusting season. But then you get to play the Packers on a game that was a flex game. It was a to-be-determined game because the schedule makers and the NFL thought it would come down to, these 2 teams might be vying for a playoff spot, so this might be a primetime game. We might want to put this one on display for the whole world to see. Not if the Bears are in it. That may or may not break the Packers' chances of getting into the playoffs, but what, are the Bears just going to at best play spoilers to that? Unbelievable, unacceptable, and as I said, more heads need to roll. Well, I wish I could say we are going to transition into some good Chicago sports news, but there really isn't any. It does get better, though. The Bulls, they were at 500 at one point on this season, and now it seems like all they've done is lose. So, I don't know. We'll see. Let's get into some Bulls talk right here on Mike on the Mic.
What's up, sports fans? I'm Mike Napolitano, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic right here on SportsTownChicago.com and the TuneIn Radio app. Now back to the show.
This is your home for sports. SportsTownChicago.com.
Joe's Hot Dogs has been around since 1953, but I promise it's not old news. You don't have to like hot dogs to like Joe's on Plainfield Road in Joliet. Italian beef, hot dogs, shakes, and sides. My family's had a relationship with Joe's Hot Dogs for 3 generations. Golden fries with a tad bit of salt and the perfect amount of crunch come in a bag as big as your hand. And that's just small. For more on the menu, visit joeshotdogsjoliet.com, bringing that classic Chicago flavor to the suburbs. That's Joe's Hot Dogs across from CVS on Plainfield Road in Joliet.
At the football game, Jim shows the telltale signs of being wasted. He starts flexing for the camera. He refers to his muscles as gunboats. He screams, "How's this for a halftime show?" Jim streaks the field.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many to drive. But what if you've had just one too many to drive? Never underestimate just a few. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and Windy City News Radio.
The Illinois Center for Broadcasting is now the Illinois Media School. We've been an institution in the Chicagoland area now for 30 years. Because the broadcasting world is always changing, so are we. Not only are we teaching radio and television production, but now you can learn all aspects of the media industry, like web design. You can even specialize in TV or film, sports broadcasting, and even sales. No matter where you are in the Chicagoland area, we have a campus near you. The Illinois Media School. Be on TV, be on radio, beonair.com.
Maybe that was money. Tell me that wasn't money.
Yo, check us out. We are the go-to guys. I'm your boy Space.
I'm your boy MC.
Check us out every Thursday
from 4 to 5 p.m.
We spitting all facts, all sports, all day.
Yes, sir. Who else you gonna go to in the clutch?
Lillard, long range three, and it's good!
Keeping you up to date with all the latest sports news.
We are
the go-to guys.
Where else you gonna get all your sports news from?
You know,
SportsTownChicago.com.
St. Patrick's Day, the only day of the year that it's okay to not boo the Boston Celtics.
I will show you mercy.
SportsTownChicago.com.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Mike. What day is it, Mike?
No, dude, it's Tuesday. It's time for Mike on the Mic.
Woo-hoo!
Right here on Sportstown Chicago and Twitch.
Off day!
Well, Bulls season is fully underway here now, basketball season in general, but somebody forgot to tell the Bulls that because it seems as though all of those stars that were coming back this year off injury, namely Lonzo Ball, are all re-injured again, and the Bulls' chances at playoffs look injured as well. Now it's early in the season, but we left off with this Bulls team at 3-4 so far through 7 games, and that didn't really help them this week as they had 2 really tough games. The top 2 teams in the West last year were the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Bulls got to see them back-to-back nights. First off, that was a 119-99 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. So it was the 3rd time this season that the Bulls have been held below the 100-point mark. All 3 of those games were losses. They only won 1 game holding an opponent below 100 themselves. It was a 102-99 win over the Orlando Magic on October 30th. And this game, Nikola Vukovic led in both points and rebounds with 14 and 10, respectively. Those were 7 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive. Josh Giddey helped out with 6 assists, but it was Luka Doncic, the man for the Dallas Mavericks, that helped the Dallas side in all 3 categories. He had the most points, most rebounds, and most assists. He was doing it all for this Mavs team. 27 points, 7 rebounds, all of them defensive, and 13 assists. You would have thought that was a typo. 13 rebounds and 7 assists. Nope. 7 rebounds and 13 assists. He was all over the court. The Bulls matched the number of points that the Mavericks had in the fourth quarter, but it just wasn't enough as they had already dug themselves a hole from the first 2 quarters and also the third. So not a great showing for the Bulls. After that, they were 3-5 and 2-3 on the road. Mavericks improved to 5-3 and 4-2 at home. Thursday was a home game and another loss, 135-119 to Minnesota. Again, a Timberwolves team that was tough, and the Bulls could not rise to the occasion. 135-119. Ouch. The Bulls gave up some large numbers, 28 in the first quarter, 28 in the second quarter, 34 in the third, and when you really need to lock things down and possibly come back late in a game, the Bulls defense decided to not show up. 45 points surrendered in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls, a 45-point quarter given up. They almost give up a 150 piece to the Timberwolves. Instead, it's a 135 piece. Bulls scored 34, 31, 30, and 24 respectively. It was once again Vukovic who led in points, but this time Josh Giddey overtook him in rebounds. Team, one game at home, one game on the road, one game at home, kind of back and forth. But this one was a much better result. The Bulls get a win on the week. I know, I almost didn't know how to spell that in the notes. 125-113 WIN. The Bulls come up big. Ayo Dosunmu leads the pack with 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. Clint Capella was the top star for the Hawks with 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. However, the Bulls would then come back home, as I said, back and forth, to face the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. They were 5-0 on the road, 11-0 on the season, and that did not change. Bulls lose 119-113. Yeah, it was not a great showing for this Bulls team. They hung in there. They did. They actually had the lead after the first quarter. They surrendered it at halftime by just a point. Basically posted the same number of points in the third as the Cavs, 28-26. They were outscored. And then 24-21, they were outscored again in the fourth quarter. So just a bad back end for this Bulls team. Otherwise, they were keeping pace with an undefeated Cavaliers team. Zach LaVine leads in points as he comes back. 26 points. It was Patrick Williams with 10 rebounds in this one, 9 of them defensive. And Josh Giddey had 7 assists to help this team, but it was Donovan Mitchell with 36 points that trounced LaVine's 26. Evan Mobley with 11 rebounds, 6 of them defensive. And Ty Jerome with 6 assists for the Cavs. If we want to look at the injury bug, it's not quite as long of a list as the Chicago Bears, but nonetheless, you still have Lonzo Ball out with a wrist injury. Jalen Smith was also placed on day-to-day with a knee injury. He was possible and probable for that Thursday game against the Timberwolves. So as we look at this injury list now, it's really, the biggest name on there is Lonzo Ball. Adama Sanogo is also on there, but he was mostly starting the season down with the Windy City Bulls. Jalen Smith is also out due to illness. And just today, back on the IR, Zach LaVine. But he is probable for the next game, which was Wednesday against the Knicks. He just has an adductor strain. So when we take a look at those next games for this Bulls squad, that is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in New York to face the Knicks, and Friday, November 15th in Cleveland to once again play this undefeated Cleveland team on their home court at 6:30 as well. Sunday, we'll be back at home against the Houston Rockets at 6 p.m. And then this crazy back and forth schedule back on the road on Monday night to face the Detroit Pistons at 6 p.m. All of those games you can catch on Chicago Sports Network. You need to have AT&T or DirecTV or an over-the-air antenna in order to get Chicago Sports Network at this time. When we look at this Bulls matchup with the Knicks are 4-5. Bulls are 4-7 and 3-3 on the road. Knicks are 2-1 at home. So they haven't played a whole lot of games at home thus far. We talked about Cleveland being undefeated. When we look at the Houston Rockets, they are 7-4, 3-2 on the road. Bulls are 1-4 at home. Something about some of these Chicago teams playing at home, namely the two that play in the United Center, and they can't get a win. Bulls are, of course, as I said, 4-7. And then Detroit, they are always bringing up the rear when it comes to the NBA, but they have the same record as the Bulls, 4-7. So not great that the Bulls are tied with them. But we shall see what this next week brings. Maybe a couple more wins. I don't know. Before we go too far into the future, we got to take a look at what is going on in the sports world today.
Back to your home for sports. SportsTownChicago.com. Scoreboard update.
At 5:30 on Tuesday, November 12th, I am your host, Mike Napolitano, with your SportsTownChicago.com update powered by the Illinois Media School. If you're interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. Andres Athanasiou has cleared waivers today after the Blackhawks placed the underperforming winger on the waiver wire yesterday. The forward only has 2 goals dating back to the start of the 2023-24 season and has not been able to crack the lineup and has been a healthy scratch basically this whole season for the Blackhawks. He will report to Rockford now after clearing those waivers to play with the AHL Ice Hogs. The Ice Hogs will play in Grand Rapids tomorrow against the Red Wings AHL affiliate, the Griffins, at 10 a.m. The Blackhawks will be back in action on the road on Thursday against the Seattle Kraken at Climate Pledge Arena at 9 p.m. on CHSN, Chicago Sports Network, or WGN AM 720. In other minor league news, the Windy City Bulls will be on the court in Detroit tonight at Wayne State Fieldhouse. They have a 6 p.m. matchup with the Motor City Cruise, concluding their road trip to start the season before their home opener against the Cruise this Saturday at 7 p.m. Before that, the NBA Chicago Bulls will be out in New York tomorrow to face the 4-5 New York Knicks at 6:30 p.m. on Chicago Sports Network or on AM 670 The Score. In baseball news, Travis d'Arnaud, catcher, has signed a $12 million 2-year deal with the Halos. The Angels have signed catcher d'Arnaud. This has been your SportsTownChicago.com update brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If you are interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com. What's up, everyone? This is Mike Napolitano, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic right here on SportsTownChicago.com and the TuneIn Radio app.
This is your home for sports. Red left. SportsTownChicago.com.
Take that exit and get to the Southern Cafe, home of the Nasty Biscuit on Roselle Road in Roselle. Get over there and try the chicken fried chicken biscuit made with the Southern Cafe's house-made drop biscuit with buttermilk chicken fried chicken smothered in country gravy, topped with shredded cheddar and crumbled hickory smoked bacon. I always say that when you go to the Southern Cafe, you come out with 2 meals with a heaping amount of food they serve you in every meal. I love to go to a place with outdoor seating. The Southern Cafe has a great outdoor seating area to help social distance, and I get to enjoy my breakfast outdoors. Open 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. to give you plenty of time to grab an amazing breakfast or lunch. Now get your butt over to the Southern Cafe on Roselle Road.
Hello?
It's speed walking day.
Dorothy? You're breaking up.
Did I mention we'd be slowing down when we pass the court where those fine brothers play ball?
I heard that.
Reduce your risk of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Get active, eat right, and maybe even run into Mr. Right. Isn't sisterhood beautiful? For more information, go to everydaychoices.org. Brought to you by the American Cancer Society, the American Diabetes Association, the American Heart Association, the Ad Council, and this station.
Alert! Alert! Be gone, maxed out credit cards, overdue loans, suffocating interest rates, and relentless collection agencies. If your credit rating is making you and others around you cringe, there's only one thing to do, and that's to turn to the professionals at Creative Credit Solutions. Even if your credit is less than perfect, we'll help you get back on track. You can do it, and we can help. Call today or visit CreativeCreditSolutions.net for your free credit check report.
Blow the whistle on SportsTownChicago.com. Mondays and Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m. as we talk NFL.
The game plan was really sound.
It's a quarterback league. It has been. It still is.
Franchise-defining quarterbacks.
College football.
Will Jim Harbaugh make it through the season as Michigan's head coach?
Some more Big Ten talk.
And here's some things you wouldn't expect.
I would have never expected that.
Get all of that and more on Blow the Whistle on SportsTownChicago.com.
Testing. Is this thing on? Hello? Can you hear me? Guys? Somebody help. Hello?
Now back to Mike on the Mic on SportsTownChicago.com and Twitch.
All right. Well, we are in our hockey segment, and we have quite the news coming out of all angles of the hockey world this week. We have the PWHL, the Women's League. Their jerseys have dropped along with the names for the teams. As I am pulling those up, we might as well talk about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that happened just this past weekend, because it applies to the Chicago Blackhawks and their former forward, Jeremy Roenick. He was honored and inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame just this past weekend, and it is great to see that. I think it was well overdue that he got his flowers, and he gave a really nice speech. I'm not going to actually play it on here because would have had to bleep out a lot of expletives. You wouldn't have been able to hear any of the speech, but no, it was great. Jeremy Roenick, I actually probably can play you a small portion of the clip from him thanking Doug Wilson, former Blackhawks, former Blackhawks winger, and then the GM of the San Jose Sharks. The name is escaped. It was escaping my mind for a moment there, but he was basically helping JR get back into the league at a certain point. I can't seem to find where I had this stashed away in here. Let me see. I definitely have it in here. Here it is. Let's take a listen to the NHL broadcast of Jeremy Roenick's speech about Doug Wilson as he was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Summer of 2007, my career came to a standstill. 4 goals shy of 500. And no calls came on January 1st. No calls came on August 1st. Depression and heavy drinking had set in. I was in Idaho with my family, and my angel called. Doug Wilson, my first NHL roommate and the GM of the San Jose Sharks. He asked me to come see him in San Jose, and I flew out the next day. He could see the desperation on my face while on the golf course. And he asked me if I'd like to come play for the Sharks. I said, hell yes. Okay, he said, but I have 3 rules. 1, you have to play for the league minimum. 2, no media, unless we ask you to, which was very hard. The beer I had in my hand out and immediately shook his hand. And I scored my 500th goal 3 months later. Thank you, Doug Wilson, for being a great friend, but more important, for being a friend when I needed it the most. I would not be up here, and I don't mean up here, if it wasn't for you. You truly saved my life.
Really heartfelt message from Jeremy Roenick there to Doug Wilson, and yeah, it was a very, very nice speech he gave. What was even nicer was the Toronto Sports Network, TSN, did a piece on Jeremy Roenick on Saturday ahead of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and it was very, very insightful about Jeremy Roenick's career, his personal life. You had his wife in there talking about things, former teammates, former coaches, and there's a lot to Jeremy Roenick that you wouldn't have known even if you read his book. Those team names for the PWHL were already announced. It was the Boston Fleet, Minnesota Frost, Montreal Victoire, the New York Sirens, the Ottawa Charge, and the Toronto Scepters. But there was the jerseys that dropped. I'm a fan of some of these, I will say. The Frost, I like the logo and I like the purple with the pink and the white. I think it's cool. But the way the F is like an italic F, there's like nothing in the lower left-hand portion of the jersey. The F takes up the lower right and the whole top. But I don't know, just it feels a little off-centered to me. The Ottawa Charge is like a wheel. So it's like an O, but also a C. Kind of looks like the Calgary Flames, not going to lie. The Boston Fleet is very cool. It's kind of, I don't know if they meant to do this. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if it pays homage to the Whalers who used to play. It was the Hartford Whalers, but kind of near Boston, because it's a B that doesn't